Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, the very funny Mike Falzone.
Oh, thank you for calling me very funny.
Very funny. And my friend.
Yeah.
We decided.
Now it's official.
Now it is official. I did a show that Mike does here in LA called Friends and Friends. Mm-hmm. And he introduced me as, this guy's not my friend, but I want to be his friend.
But by the end of the show,
we were.
That's what happens.
And now we're here.
That's, you know as well as anyone, like when people try to get on your show, they're like, here are my credits, here's my clip, whatever. My show is very simple. We just have to be friends.
Yep.
Or have the possibility of being friends somewhere in the near future. And you were the latter. And then after the show, here we are hanging out.
Yeah.
And then it all works out.
And we'll
it's very on brand.
It is very on brand. This is well done on all fronts. Yeah. So, usually, as listeners know, and as I've explained to Mike beforehand, this is a podcast where people talk about movies that they hate. And occasionally, for special exceptions, which tend to be very relentlessly positive people.
Sure. Friends only.
You come on and there's a movie that people don't like that you love, and that is where Mike and I have reached an impasse today.
Nice.
You've come on to talk about a movie that received, let me take a look here.
I've never checked this out, by the way. Are you looking
never
like
read the reviews?
Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah.
Never read one. The only review I've ever heard of this movie is on the director's commentary by the main character of the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Didn't like it.
Okay. I buy it. This movie has a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes. Better than I thought it was going to be.
Okay, not terrible.
Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars.
Out of
4 stars. I don't think he gave it any thumbs ups, or maybe 1 thumbs up. He said the film begins with a fantastic premise, but immediately loses faith in it. And made half of its budget back at the box office.
Cool.
Because nobody wanted to see it.
How did this movie have any budget? Lots of extras, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to have, that's probably all this money. Let's just stop pussyfooting around. This movie is PCU.
Yeah.
The 1994 American comedy film, written by people you never heard of, directed by a guy you never heard of.
Fuck yeah.
About college life at the fictional Port Chester University, and represents, this is a direct quote from the movie info on noted movie website, mutantreviewers.com. An exaggerated view of contemporary college life. This movie is...
Dude, you left out one very important branch of that tree. It's directed by people you've never heard of. Written by people you've never heard of, starring several people you'd recognize.
Yeah, starring Jeremy Piven. As Draws. Great name. You got Jon Favreau as Gutter.
Yep.
Great name
he
with
was
some
fat
white
and
boy
he had
dreads.
dreadlocks.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yep.
David Spade is in this movie. Mm-hmm. We've got Jessica Walter is in this movie.
The one and only Jessica Walter.
She's good in this movie. I liked her in this movie.
Was that the blonde one?
No, that's the president of the...
Oh, yeah.
She's in
Who's
from
been the same
Arrested
age
Development.
for 30 years.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
She never changes her age. Mm-hmm. George Clinton and Parliament-Funkadelic are in this movie.
Most of the whole band is in the movie.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Most of this movie... Okay, the craziest thing to me about this movie is that it's not even 90 minutes long.
Uh-huh.
And yet it still feels too long.
That's 100% true. That's 100% true. It packs a lot. There's a lot to unpack.
This movie, let's start unpacking. This movie is your favorite movie.
It's my favorite. I've said that since probably 7th or 8th grade.
Why is this your favorite movie?
I think I just saw it at a young age on what I think was HBO.
Okay.
And it became my idea of what I thought college was going to be way before I was even in college. And I think they make a reference. It's in Port Chester.
Yep.
which is part of New York, and I was in Connecticut, and then they make a reference to Connecticut at the end of the movie, so I was like, wait a minute, this movie that I love references this state that no one gives a shit about that I'm from, and I was like, this is my movie. This is going to be my college experience, and I liked it for so many different reasons as a kid, and then seeing it recently, I'm like, I like it all over again for different reasons as an adult. It's fascinating. I think this movie... This is my thesis statement.
Hit me with it.
This movie, I think, has within its script, the secret to bringing us together as a society.
What's that?
And that's we just got chill and party together.
Here's what I'll say about this movie. My thesis on this movie is that it's rare to find a movie like this because it at parts definitely feels ahead of its time comedically. Like there's some stuff that it's doing comedically that feels very of the current moment, of
like
the 2018 moment.
Recently.
Yeah, like I could have seen this coming out of the Judd Apatow machine. But there's also so much of this movie that definitely feels like a 90s movie in a time capsule.
Yeah, like with your eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see it and you're just like, wow. This is just,
most 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, okay, so the plot of this movie, if we can even call it a plot, it's
very
paper
loose.
thin.
There's like 4 main characters, and none of them get a full journey in this movie.
Right, yeah, there's definitely no hero's journey in this movie. It's a very loose movie. There's a kid who shows up on a bus. And he visits Port Chester University, which is based on Wesleyan University, which also is in
Connecticut.
Connecticut, that's right.
Hartford.
And that's where they keep making references to Hartford and how you can't buy liquor after 8 p.m.
Connecticut blue law.
Sucks.
It's not like that anymore.
Oh, good.
I'm almost positive it's not like that anymore.
I went to college in the South, so we had you can't buy liquor or alcohol at all on Sundays.
Yeah.
You can buy and it varies state by state. You can't buy liquor on Sundays. You can't buy alcohol until afternoon on Sundays. And some places don't sell alcohol you have to go to a liquor store for actual hard alcohol.
Sure.
Unless you're in New Orleans, in which case all bets are off. You can buy whatever you want.
Dude, it blew my... I went to a Publix in Florida once, and they had like Jack Daniels in the grocery store, and I was like, this is insane. We never had anything like that. We had like beer and wine in Stop and Shop, and that was it.
See, this is the difference between the North and the South. This is what the Civil War was all about.
This is why the war was fought.
So the movie is basically immediately it latches on to this idea that it sort of seems like it's going to be about the idea of political correctness for the whole movie.
Yeah.
It very much is like from the jump. This kid shows up on campus and he gets directed to this fraternity house that's not really a fraternity house anymore. It's basically like a white people trap house.
Sure, it's a shit show. Yeah,
it's terrible inside there.
Yeah. I didn't see anyone doing crack, but it was very much a crack den-ish type setting.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that the guy who was on the couch watching TV almost the entire movie
he was on
doing
something.
crack. He had to be on some kind of drugs.
For sure. Couldn't feel his legs.
Didn't blink, couldn't feel his legs. He tried to lick an exposed electrical wire.
Well, he's trying to fix it.
Of course.
He's trying to be helpful.
So they're in this house, and it's called the Pit. And it's led by a ragtag group of people, led by Jeremy Piven, a.k.a. Draws.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Piven, by the way, I will say one of my favorite parts of any college movie, sort of in general, and definitely of this movie, is the art direction. The level that set designers go to make this place look so terrible, but also so appealing.
Yeah.
Is fantastic.
So this dude, I mean, they live in this old house, but this dude in particular lives in the basement with his friends.
Right.
And in the basement, there's this hallway, and all the walls are covered in graffiti inside.
Yep.
And there's also like a shopping cart, and it's fucking disgusting. And I was noticing, I watched it last night, and there's like a like custom score
by Steve Vai.
Yeah. Is that true?
It's by Steve Vai.
The most all-star cast ever.
Dude, it's so strange. It's all like sweet guitar riffs for most of the movie, and then also like 20 minutes of this movie is a Parliament-Funkadelic music video.
Oh, yeah. They switched off from Steve Vai to George Clinton halfway through the movie.
That's the thing. This movie, it only needed to... It needed to be... I could see this movie being a TV show.
45 minutes
45 minutes, get a pilot out there, make a few episodes. Mm-hmm. This wouldn't be a bad TV show.
Yeah, it was like a dirtier Undeclared kind of.
Yes, that's the vibe. I echo that sentiment completely.
Yeah.
It's got all of the... It's got the grunge, it's got the group of people who you're like, these people seem fun, and then it's also got like it's slobs versus snobs a little bit, and just like the most distilled version of what Animal House does.
Sure.
And just like, we got a couple drops of this. It's not the magic that Animal House brings.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you also have the Balls and Shaft Society.
Yeah. Oh, going back to what you were saying about the art direction and it feeling like disgusting, but also like desirable, or however you put it.
Yeah.
I remembered from a young age, they walk into this house, and the first thing that happens to Tom, this pre-frosh, this dude who comes to visit, is he almost gets hit in the head by a street hockey puck. And it always stuck in my head that they were playing roller hockey in their big, like, open living room
space.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I was like, I can't fucking wait for college, dude. I'm never taking my rollerblades off.
I mean, and also, lest we forget, inside Draws's room, he has just a closet full of term papers and whippets.
Yeah.
Whippets!
Yeah.
Just open, ready to go.
That's how he made money.
And he has a fishbowl full of cigarettes that he flicks his cigarette butts into and lands them every single time, and it's full.
Yeah.
It's completely full.
Dirty Fonz.
How bad does that room smell?
It's disgusting. If it smelled anything like any of my rooms in college, it smelled disgusting.
Yeah, and I feel like this is the crux of this movie. So he goes in and immediately he's like, college is full of people who suck, and so you got to make fun of everybody.
Yeah.
And so you go and you see he's taken Tom out on the quad. He's taking the pre-frosh out, and he shows him, oh, these guys are this is all the people who were like, you know, different protest groups. These are the wominists. They're radical feminists. And it's just like, you know, just crunchy looking girls in muted colors who don't want that, who are just like the most insane stereotype of
the cartoon feminist.
Of a cartoon feminist, exactly. To the point where they're like, you gave his penis a nickname? And they can't even say penis.
Right.
They refuse to say penis.
The phallus.
The phallus.
Yeah. And then there's, like you were saying, Balls and Shaft is like the young Republicans.
Yep.
Like the all-white dude, borderline white supremacist group.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't even say borderline.
No,
I think
definitely.
that they're definitely white supremacists.
I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Which is, by the way, that is the part of the movie that I think is the best part, is seeing them in their house.
Yeah.
Where they have been relegated to because the pit took over their old frat house.
Yeah.
And so they're just like, all of their lines, all of David Spade and company's lines are great. They're so funny.
Like when he's trying to get let into the clubhouse.
Yeah.
The password situation.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
He's good.
You're from Connecticut.
Yeah.
And I went to school with a lot of people who were from the North and were in fraternities. And I was in a fraternity myself, for full disclosure's sake. This movie brought back a lot of memories of like, oh yeah, I remember people like this.
Yeah.
This is not inaccurate. Were you exposed to anything like that? Were you in the Greek system or anything?
Didn't have one of those. And then we had people kind of like we kind of emulated the pit, me and my group of friends.
God, I'm so jealous.
We were just like, well, it really wasn't. It was like without everything like cool they did.
Right.
We just like were dirty and would break shit. That's pretty much it.
This is okay. So they get it together, and there's like people who are protesting the cafeteria selling chili burgers.
Yeah. The idea is that the cause heads protest something and stick with it for about a week. That's the line.
Yep.
So it's this week. They reference it. It was like something the previous week, and then they block the guys in the pits their entrance to the cafeteria because they're serving meat. Like,
Right.
that's their thing this week.
And they do a terrible job of blocking their way in. Because all the pit guys have to do is just dance in the dance and drum circle for a second. And then compliment the girl with the bullhorn.
Yeah.
And say she looks cute, and then they can get inside. And also, where are all the chili burgers? It's meatballs.
Yeah,
They're throwing meatballs at people.
Yeah.
Throw chili.
You break down the meatball, and then it becomes the chili burger.
I guess. I mean,
Dude, that's how the cafeterias work. It's like it starts as something, and then by the end of the week, whatever they don't sell, whatever people don't eat, it becomes chili or meat lasagna, or like just the easiest recyclable thing.
Dude, I mean, this just occurred to me. We used to have this thing called late night. So I went to one of our buildings on campus was called McEwen. That was a cafeteria type building, and there was on Thursday nights. They brought it back my senior year, late night McEwen.
Okay.
And it was clearly just like this crazy buffet where you could get basically everything you would want. They had breakfast, they had hot dogs, they had burgers, they had all the most disgusting like food to sober you up.
Yeah.
And it now is just occurring to me, that's definitely all the leftovers from over the course of the week that they're trying to get rid of.
But I bet people love that shit.
Oh, dude, I was there every fucking week.
Yeah, dude.
Because you gotta go.
Dude,
it's a Thursday night hotspot. It's open till 3.
How easy is it to gain a ridiculous amount of weight in college? It's like you have
so easy.
You really have no self-discipline. Only like the really nerdy kids have self-discipline, or the athletes, because it's what their whole shit is based on. And then like everyone else, it's like I have to go to class, but every other second I'm just gonna be stoned or eating or drunk or eating.
That's part of why this movie's unbelievable to me, is that there's only like a couple fat people in the whole movie.
Yeah. Gutter's chunky, and that's about it.
And he's also like moshing constantly in his room.
Yeah, a lot of energy. He's very nimble. Yeah. In his room alone to music. It's true.
So there's parts of this movie, and they like hang out, and there's like a bunch of potheads who they go and hang out with, and they're playing ultimate frisbee. Of course, very college, extremely college. And the quest for this movie is like, all right, well, somehow David Spade, who is maybe fucking the president of the school.
There's kind of a vibe.
There's definitely a vibe. It's never spoken out loud, but I'm pretty sure that they were fucking.
Sure.
And
or they have.
They have in the past. Something happened between them for sure.
Something happened. Somebody has dirt.
Maybe some kind of rent boy situation was going on.
Yeah, some sugar mama deal.
And she tells David Spade, hey, guess what? I'm going to go make an announcement to the pit today, and your guys are going to get your house back, finally. And David Spade's like,
gets all
thank
horny
you.
about it.
He's so horny about it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm totally going to eat your puss later
Hell
on.
yeah,
Thank you
hell
so
yeah,
much. And she shows up, and this is like 20 or 30 minutes into the movie, and we finally figure out what the movie is going to be about.
To unpack the next plot,
which is, hey, you guys have to make $7,500 or by the end of the weekend, or else you're not going to out of your house. And by the way, all of this is happening while our poor pre-frosh Tom is just being chased around campus by literally every group.
The part of the tour is designed so you could see how fragmented and like tribal the campus is. And as this guy goes around to each group, he somehow manages to piss off every single group. So you're right. By the end of this tour, he's being chased around. He's separated from the pit guys, and he's being chased around the campus by every tribe on campus.
He knocks into the power box for an entire computer lab
he
destroys
trips on the cable.
Computer lab. He trips on the cables.
So all the nerds hate him.
All the nerds hate him. All the cause heads hate him, and the stoners hate him because he took their frisbee man.
They're so angry about
They're so angry about it. And then, but the rest of this movie is just like a very shambly story of, well, we got to figure out how to have this party. Our people who live in our house got electrocuted and might be dead. Yeah. And they're part of our band.
Yeah. And also a little love story in there as well.
Right.
You sprinkle that in as well.
Just a little hint of a love story.
Very convoluted, very confusing.
And of course, there's, the requisite sweet guitar lick as our pre-frosh looks at a girl's butt in jean shorts. And it's just like, this is what a boner sounds like.
Right. This is my first girl interaction.
So
It's a 90s boner.
most of this movie takes place at this party where George Clinton shows up because Gutter got too stoned.
Yeah,
and
well,
thought,
it was Gutter's job to get the beer.
Right.
He falls asleep in a parking lot, as Gutter does.
Yep.
He's woken up by the arrival of this tour bus, and he's like, dude, you got to give me a ride back to campus. Tour bus door opens. He's like, he's trying to ask directions to Hartford.
right, because he's trying to go see his favorite band, Frog and Toad are friends. Another great part of that movie.
Yeah, good references.
It's a good reference. And George Clinton is there, and he clearly doesn't know who George Clinton is.
Yeah.
Because his pothead friends who he was hanging out with, they were all saying, yo, we're going to go see George Clinton in Parliament-Funkadelic. I don't know who you were planning on seeing, but
Right.
we're going to go see them.
Yeah.
And he has no idea who they are.
No.
And he's like, hey, you guys want to come play a show at my house?
Dude, I thought
You're
that
already
was
late.
genius. The dude has dreadlocks, so in a way he's kind of appropriating the African American culture.
Oh, yeah.
And then George Clinton shows up, and he's like, "Yeah, man, the highway's over there," but has no idea who he is whatsoever.
Yeah.
So they ended up giving him a ride back to campus, and they needed to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
The band.
Yeah.
So he's like, they're already having the party by this point to get the whole.
They're starting to figure out because they went to go steal the alcohol from the party held by the president, which also everybody in this movie is dumb as fuck.
Oh yeah.
How did nobody notice they were stealing an entire bar? The people who showed up at this party are clearly not supposed to be there.
Dude,
Nobody's stopping them.
This is pre 9/11, so security is just not. It's not up to par. It's 1994. There was basically no security.
This is such a simpler time in America. So they show up and they use classic 90s device, the club, to keep the doors locked.
Yeah, genius.
It's so genius.
Yeah.
And they're just blasting Afternoon Delight on the stereo. I don't know how he found Afternoon Delight.
Well, he had a CD.
I didn't even see that happen. I was watching this too late at night and just dumbfounded at all of the things that were happening in this movie.
Right.
So then they show up, and then everybody is getting chased by... everybody's chasing Prefrosh,
Right.
who's like, I have to leave. I'm going to get murdered.
Yeah.
And
So Prefrosh finds his way back to the pit. He basically brings the entire angry campus to the doorstep of the pit where they're trying to have this party.
And they're like, hey, listen... We're gonna let you come in and beat this guy's ass for all the wrongs he did, but it's gonna cost $5.
Right.
And they make all their money back, of course.
Yeah, they also charge for the bathroom.
Right, which is genius.
2 to stand, 4 to sit.
Yeah.
That always stuck with me as well. I was like, I'm gonna fucking do that shit.
It's a fucking good idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold people's insides hostage for money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a bad move.
It's very smart.
So then they're playing this, and then the party is going fine, and everything is cool, and everybody's drunk, and the guy on the couch is like, I finally saw a movie with Gene Hackman and Michael Caine in it together, so I can stop watching TV.
Yeah.
And everything is great, and then you're like, okay, this movie can totally end right now. And then the television show is done. This is the closing credits.
This is the climactic ending.
And then all of a sudden, Jessica Walter shows back up again, and she's like, guess what? I'm still going to take your house away.
Yeah.
You paid it off, but you're fucked
Right,
anyway.
they raised the money, but it didn't matter because they had all these complaints because everyone was protesting their house right before this happened.
Yep. And they're and then they have like, I guess I had to look up and see what happened in this next scene, in the closing scene in the movie.
You're already sleeping on your couch by this point.
I was so confused because I thought it was a graduation ceremony because they have the
but
entire...
it was a bicentennial.
It's a bicentennial where they also are unveiling that they have a new mascot that's an endangered species.
Right.
And everybody is like, this is dumb. The guys who are like the board of trustees of the university are like, why did we let this happen?
Yeah.
This is bad publicity for all of us.
Which is what that whole... Really what the movie is all about is this university trying to be like super PC and shut down anything that might be against that.
Which
and
is
then
why
they
it's
do
called
this
PCU.
Thing right, but then they do this thing at the end which is not PC at all.
Yep.
And they get shut down because of it.
Yeah.
Or threaten to get shut down.
And so then they have a protest against protesting.
Yeah.
Led by Jeremy Piven.
Uh-huh.
And then David Spade comes up and says a bunch of young Republican, white supremacist adjacent kind of shit into the microphone. Which is
has no idea
that
broadcast.
he's, even though Jeremy Piven is literally like holding a microphone to his mouth like a reporter. And then he just gestures down and just like, oh, you fucked up, buddy.
You didn't look down, did you? You didn't look towards my chest when we were talking, did you?
Sorry, your tie knot was too big and it scared you. Tied that Windsor too well. And this movie ends.
Yeah.
At a cool 79 minutes.
Hell yeah. And the Prefrosh decides he's going to come back next fall.
Yep.
And
he makes out with
has a new direction. In
the new
life.
girl.
Yeah.
His new girlfriend.
Yep. Draws gets hooked up with a womanist.
Yep.
And everyone gets what they want. Except for the old, rich, evil people.
Right, of course. Everything turns out okay in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's still not a good movie.
Oh, no.
Why do you like this movie so much?
I just think it's the most fun for my small brain, my underdeveloped high school brain. I was like, this is the most fun. There's so many different characters to fall in love with. There's so many different plot lines. Didn't even know what a plot line was. I just knew that a lot of things happen. There's a party. Everyone gets to make out with everybody. They're playing, roller hockey inside. Again, such an important part for me. And I really just thought, I don't know. And then as an adult, it's like, it echoes what's going on today so much. It's like things are so PC and everything is like so policed and everyone's so offended all the time. And then very simple, like, dude logic is, well, maybe if we all got together and had a party, everyone could get along. And everyone does do that, and everyone does get along for a whole night. And everyone has a great fucking time. Even Moonbeam. fucking
Moonbeam.
Yeah. And, shit hits the fan the next day again. But I live for the George Clinton party.
The George Clinton party is great.
Everyone's in there. Everybody's having a great time.
And I must admit, I did put like 3 George Clinton songs on my playlist of the current times.
Nice.
As soon as I watched this movie, I was like, oh yeah.
Flashlight.
I fucking forgot about George Clinton. Yeah, and then Stomp. And of course, Tear the Roof Off the Sucker.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Give Up the Funk.
Yeah, dude.
There's a thing about this movie, and you are accurate. You're right about the whole. Then that's why I say it's ahead of its time, but also very much in the '90s time capsule mode. Is that it definitely predicts a lot of what is happening now, and it sort of echoes like, oh yeah, this is all PC stuff. I mean, they even say, fuck, I can't even remember what it was, but there was definitely a line in the movie that I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing in the '90s,
dude. Same.
I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna see if I can find memorable quotes.
When they're at they're walking around. So what's the President Garcia Thompson? What's her name again? President
Garcia Thompson. Yeah.
She's at this meeting and they're discussing the bicentennial, and you could hear her say like, "I think Asian bisexual mathematics studies deserves its own building, but what goes? The hockey team or the math department or whatever?"
That part is funny. That's right. I didn't know that Asian and bisexuals were there at all.
I had no idea that those existed in 1994.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm looking it up. Oh, and all the stuff where it's like, there's lines like when they're trying to get into the party. I'm a black man. There's no justice for me here in America. I should be at the front of the line. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm gay and subject to ridicule and discrimination wherever I go. Women are a pest throughout the world. Give it a rest.
Yeah. Nice little flowing shot.
That's here now. They're saying fresh person instead of freshman over and over and over again, which is accurate. Let's not assume people's genders, people.
Yeah.
But there's just like... Also, okay, so I remember looking up, when you told me about this movie, there's an article that shows up on Google that's like one of the top articles. and it's from the Daily Caller, which is
the thing,
the Ben Shapiro thing. Where he's like, it's not him; it's a contributor to the website, but it's 5 ways that film predicted the future.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, it's all the stuff that we've already talked about, which is of course the Daily Caller is a conservative website, so of course it's already going to hit all the stuff that we all know about as people in the comedy world of like, yeah, this is stuff that we ridicule already all the time. This makes sense, like the cause heads. And the everybody, we should just chill out and party, and that's what the whole movie's about. But they also, it's so funny to me that like they see this movie and they're like, look at how dumb all these people are, and they completely just whiff and gloss over the David Spade Young Republican group. Yeah, which is
they don't touch him.
That's the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull the direct quote from the lines here. This school used to, it's sad really. This school used to be a bastion of rich white elitism, and now they let homosexuals on the football team. Whining minorities run the student government, and you can't even coerce a woman into having sex with you without being brought up on charges.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Great writing. That's just like I wanted to like this movie so much more than I wound up liking it, and I do think that this movie could live on in a way if somebody adapted it into like a Netflix series. Yeah. Like we need, like if the Dear White People is a very successful series on Netflix. I think this is almost the antithesis sort of that, because it would be very obviously about, I think, white culture in a way that Dear White People is about black culture.
Yeah. But this was like very much written by a white person.
Oh, for sure it was.
Without question.
This guy's...
But you're right. I think every group on campus could have their own episode. Yeah. And that's where you can kind of like learn about the other side, you know.
I'd love to see a limited series of this where you just get one episode of everybody, do some Rashomon style storytelling of what's going on leading up to this party. And I think it could be so fascinating and really funny. Yeah. And the problem is you can't have a white guy named Zach with that's spelled Z-A-K write this movie.
You're right.
You can't do it.
No, you're 100% right.
So, I mean, maybe you should take up the charge. You're a content creator.
I'm not smart enough. That's the only thing. It's like if I were to do it, I would want to tell everyone's story accurately. So at the party, everyone understood each other rather than saying like, we're all drunk. Dude, don't we all just want to get drunk and fuck? You know? It would be like, don't we all want to get drunk and fuck and understand each other a little bit more? You know? It's like no one... it's more about like hanging out and partying than it... And this is the only part I don't like. It's more about like saying, shh, everyone shh, rather than like... Okay, yeah, I get why you're that, but here's what brings us together. Yada yada.
That's, I think, the way you make this work in the late 2010s is you turn it around and you have all the good satire that this movie does manage to pull off. But you also couch it with, all right, let's make it people understand why people are acting this way. Yeah. And show and be inclusive instead of just boxing everybody up. Box them up, but also be like, oh yeah, this is why this group acts like this. This is why this group acts like this. Right. Because I think that's fascinating, and I want to see that story told.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't think I'm talking more about this movie. It's kind of a good movie.
See, watch it 7 or 8 more times.
It does.
See what happens by the end of it.
It's the best Parliament-Funkadelic music video I've ever seen.
Dude, it's so good.
I can't get Stomp out of my head.
Dude, thank God for this movie introducing me to Parliament-Funkadelic at a very young age. And then liking funk music, and then ruining that with white people funk music as I got a little bit older, and then bringing me right back as soon as you watch this.
Dude, this brought me back. One of my friends in middle school was this dude named Kevin Hood, and he was a drummer, and we were in one of these gifted and talented classes where you can gifted and talented. I'm not even trying to brag. It's just dumb. It's just like an excuse for kids who are smart but also definitely should not be in like a regular class because they're just not going to be paying attention to go off and do something that they kind of want to do instead.
The talented ADHD kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we had to do, I remember, you constantly in these classes we were getting projects of like, all right, go research something and like do a report on it and present it to the class.
Yeah.
This happened, I was in GT classes for like 5 or 6 years. This happened multiple times a year where they're just like, all right, go do a thing and show us what you made. And he did this amazing presentation on funk music.
I thought you were going to say, and that kid wrote PCU.
That kid was Zach with a K. And he did an amazing project on Parliament-Funkadelic and George Clinton. And I remember listening. He played a lot of P-Funk in this class, and I was just like blown away. And then it hoed out of my field of vision, and now I'm back in it. And I'm like, oh, I should get back into this.
Yeah.
Man, we're showing off how white we are. Let's appropriate some culture.
We should really get into funk music.
Oh, yes.
You heard about this funk music?
I am a big fan of Funkadelic. I love the way they mess with tempo and time frame. All those hair colors are so groovy. Oh, God. Mike, thank you for talking about this movie.
Yeah, man, thank you. And, feel free, if you're an avid listener to this show, feel free to skip this one. I will tell you right at the end, you're going to want to skip this one.
You will.
And somebody else will get to hating something else real quick. But it was nice to be able to talk about this and nice to have an excuse to watch it again. I still like it.
Yeah, I think you don't need to see this movie. We explained it all for you.
Yeah.
Just imagine Jeremy Piven saying all the stuff that we said and David Spade saying all the stuff that we said, and he hit the nail on the head.
I love him being a college kid with, like, his hairline.
Right, because he's also like, I've been doing this for 7 years.
He's 34 at least in this movie.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me.
Where can listeners find your work?
All over the internet at Mike Falzone, spelled like it sounds.
Fantastic. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. And if you like the show, leave a rating, leave a review on iTunes.
So important.
It is. It helps.
Get on that new and noteworthy.
I think at this point, almost 90 episodes in, I am no longer new, but noteworthy. Yeah. I'll gun for some noteworthy.
Yeah, do 5 stars, and then in the comments, just say noteworthy.
There we go.
They'll know.
Thanks for listening to Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.